From the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota, this is the grand final of the men's division of the 2022 USAFL Central Regional Championships as the Austin Crows take on the Minnesota Freeze. The Freeze are looking for their first Division I title at the regional level. Austin is looking for their sixth. My name is Brian Barish. I'll be calling the play-by-play with you, and on color commentary and special comments, the head coach of the Des Moines Roosters, Donnie Hassan. Donnie, the two best teams on the weekend on a collision course. Austin is the juggernaut, but with Ben Carpenter-Wanyanwu out due to that knee injury, this really could be anybody's game.
This really could be quite a fascinating game here because, especially Minnesota being at home, you've got the hometown feel. Everybody's here to support them, so this is definitely going to be a clash of the Titans here.
Minnesota, what do they have to do to kind of stem that tide and beat what has been a team that seems is almost unbeatable in the last 4 seasons?
Really, I think it's you got to suffocate. You got to suffocate this team every way you possibly can. Whether it's keep the footy from them, defensive pressure, tackle strong. I think the biggest thing is the scoreboard pressure. If you can put points on this board, make this Austin Crows team have to fight back. You never know.
We're underway as Nolan Cox knocks the ball forward, and then here comes Austin. They're in the dark blue jumpers with the yellow and red hoops. They're heading from left to right. Crash boom opera up on the far side now, and there's a shot for goal. First one of the game, and it's there. Well, that took less than 30 seconds, and I believe that's going to be the man in Austin Beatty, the former Des Moines Rooster, and he's put Austin in the lead. The Crows go to 1 straight 6. Minnesota no score. Doesn't get any better than that.
Best way to start for Austin. Get on the board quickly, put Minnesota back on its heels, even at home. A great start by the Crows.
And it'll be interesting to see if they get their second win here. The Crows defeated the Des Moines Roosters in the first game of pool play 51-8. Then won the second game over a Nashville team that really gave them all they could handle for the first 30-plus minutes of the game before they won 47-21. Minnesota, meanwhile, got here by defeating Oklahoma 76-9 and St. Louis 36-3. So they've really looked the sharpest of all the teams so far, but it's a 40-minute game. The mark is taken by Greg Kirkland, who's one of 2 players from North Texas playing on this side. Gives the ball to the 28, who we don't have here. The mark is taken by Brent Bergen. Bergen bootlegs around, now goes for a little bit of a jog, sends that one up the right side. Ball goes up high, it drops down, and now it's kicked forward, tipped, and this is, well, that isn't, I was going to say that was, that's Ryan O'Malley. I saw the forward, I didn't think it was Nolan Cox, as that one is sent forward and marked again by Beatty. You see Austin swirling, and the wind is doing the same. Beatty sends that one on the way, the wind takes it, blows it out to the left, crash boom opera, Cox stays with it, gets away from one defender, but is spun around there by Jonathan Durant, and also Bergen is over there as well. So Austin, Donnie, so far they're really kind of showing, it almost looks like they have recovered, and they know they're going to need to give the maximum effort with Carpenter and Wanyanwu on the sidelines.
Yeah, definitely got to get up on the hometown team as quickly as possible, and this is the best way. Scoreboard pressure and tackle pressure has been absolutely fantastic by the Crows early in this game.
Austin has played Minnesota a number of times over the years, so this is the first time I believe that they've actually played them here in Minnesota. So it will be a very interesting situation. Minnesota, like we said, they've looked really good over 2 very good sides in pool play, but we'll see how they do. That one is sent deep down the side, and that one is tipped backwards there. Over to get it again is O'Malley for Austin, and it's kept in play up on the far side. Long handball back, plenty of room. Tries to get around the player there in Robertson, who has been one of the Freeze's prime movers, and that one is sent across the field. Again, the wind takes it. That one is punched free by Tiger Werner. Werner has it, just got it free somehow, and a long pass back. That one is kicked deep by David Walsh. It bounces short, however, and the ball goes out of bounds. You know, Minnesota, Donnie, the last time these two teams met at a regional tournament was at the Central Regionals, and it was in Denver. and the two teams were so far apart. I mean, Austin won by a lot, and now this is a completely different setup. I mean, Austin is missing some of their bigger players, but Minnesota has to hope that if they can hang in, that they'll have a chance.
Now, the biggest thing here is just keep it close. Don't let Austin get out and go. If they can put some few points on the board, it's going to be much harder to beat them. But if Minnesota can put some scoreboard pressure on, make Austin think a little bit. Who knows? You never know what could happen.
Austin's experience losing in a grand final at the Central Regionals before, when we were in Little Rock in 2017. They lost to Dallas, then called the Magpies, in the same format. It was 6 teams, and so it was, you know, it is possible, but that's still a long way away, and there's still plenty of time. Crash, boom, opera. That one is sent in towards the sticks. It's across the face, digging in after it. There's a little handball back, chipped in over the top, and it's going to be marked, slapped through. No, it's a goal. Bergen thought that he had slapped it through, but it did get there, and so a goal to the Austin Crows, and they double their lead. They go to 2 straight 12. And Des Moines, no score.
Absolutely gorgeous snap from the pocket there. I think he thought it was going to stay short, and it just creeped its way over the goal line.
I said Des Moines, I meant Minnesota. I was too busy looking at Donnie's Des Moines Roosters jacket. As we go back in the middle again, the Austin Crows, you know, they made it to the Division III Grand Final in 2009 and lost. They made it to the Division II Grand Final in 2011, and then they made it to the Division I Grand Final in 2013, and they've made it to 6 Grand Finals since then, and they've won every single one of them. They're coming off a huge win where they scored the second most points in Division I Grand Final history in that comprehensive win over the New York Magpies. Out to the near side, they find Aaron Cook. Cook looks downfield, sends that one into the pocket, marked. And once again, it is Beatty. Beatty's been the target. He's just going to line it up here. Umpire Steve Harnett, who is based here in Minnesota, and he goes across, dropped in front. Oh, and Bergen lowered the shoulder, and he draws the high contact. When you're 6'6" like Burgo is, Donnie, you can do that.
It's definitely not something you see by a tall guy, but if you can get down low, it's much harder to tackle him. So, clever play there to be able to help get it out of their defensive 50.
I wonder if he learned that in I think Denmark was the name of the club he played in Western Australia. As the mark is taken by the man in Tom O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, one of a handful of one of several Australians on this Austin side, and one of the reasons why they're so good. But it's not even just that their Australians are good; their Americans are good. I mentioned Cox, Montgomery as well, as O'Sullivan sends out one goalward. The umpire runs off to the right, taps himself because he says, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me." That's the first blemish of the grand final. 2-1-13 for the Crows. No score for Des Moines. And some thoughts from Donnie Hess.
Just again, Austin continuing with the pressure. A little bit let off there, only getting a behind. But if I'm Minnesota, you've got to find a way to get the next score because Austin can get going. And they're very, very good with that.
And James Wright showing that they're very good at sealing off these outlet passes and also finding these short plays.
Get him, Jesse! Get him!
That one is sent in. Oh, what a mark! Oh, what a great mark there by Bailey Callender. I believe that's Chris Adams, C.J. Adams. What a mark, and that one is taken by Steve Vachon. They come out to the near side corner, had it drop in front of him. The wind played tricks with that. Handball up over the top, and in the middle, and now here they come the other way. There is Vachon once again. Minnesota trying to get something going. Shoves down a player in the back, no call. Warner gets that one up, ducks to the inside, handballs it up over the top. There's a Shepherd put in once again. Boom, crash hopper in the center of Field 1 here at the National Sports Center. And we'll have a ball up. Chris Adams Jr., you know, it's great, Donnie, to see players come up through the handful of junior programs across the U.S. He played in Washington, and he's eligible for the U.S. national team.
That's absolutely awesome to see those junior clubs. It's definitely something that if more and more USAFL clubs can find juniors, who knows, maybe we could see an American-born USAFL alumni playing in the AFL.
Would be great to see. I mean, besides Danny Marshall, of course, who discovered the game and started playing a little bit later in life, but you're absolutely right. Zach Weaver intercepted the ball, but it's been turned over and caught. Back the other way it comes. As that one is sent up high. Who wants it? Everybody. Who's got it? And it's Mark. No, it's going to be a free kick. And it's going to be given to the Austin Crows. And we have another injury. Well, Austin's already, as we mentioned, well, that's Nolan Cox who's slow to get up. And I'll tell you what, they've already lost Ben Carpenter Wanyanwu. They do not want to lose. They do not want to lose Nolan Cox. He will be told he will set up here. He's got a swirling wind from left to right. He sets it on the way. It does not come across, and it's through for another minor score. 2-2-14. Boston, no score, Minnesota. The Freeze right now, have gotten, I think, 3 times inside 50. Really, after that, they got that punch in the gut. And they've really settled in, Donnie, but as Austin. But here comes Minnesota the other way. Let's see what they can do here. Oh, almost took the mark. Ball goes to ground. There is not Scott, but the man in JP Kirby. I mean, there's a free kick. That's the other thing as well. If Minnesota has a chance, the free kick count, they can't be giving away silly free kicks as we come to the end of the first quarter. Some thoughts from Donnie Hess.
And again, you look at it, you would think this would be a little bit more advantageous for Minnesota having the breeze in this, but Austin is continuing the tackle pressure, putting scoreboard pressure. So you really look at it at Minnesota. What does their coach do? How does he move the defense? How does he make changes? Because right now it's just not working. He's getting stuck in his defensive 50. And late in this game, when the tides turn and the wind is behind Austin, it can get very, very ugly quickly.
We'll see how it goes. We'll be back for the second quarter of this one. You're watching the 2022 USAFL Central Regional Championships here on USAFL.com. Back here as we're underway, the resumption of the first half, or you could call it the second quarter. The teams haven't switched sides, but the Crows hanging on to a 14-0 lead. They're still heading from left to right on your screen. The Freeze are in the blue jumpers with the silver and white icicles heading from right to left. As Brian Barish here and Donnie Hess with you here at the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota, the final game of the day. As this one is chipped up over the top and marked by James Bates. Batesy goes into the middle of the ground, and the mark is taken there by the unnamed number 28. He'll send that one forward, and it gets by everybody and goes pick that one up, tried to turn it around. There was William Lyon, another one of the 2 North Texas Devils. That one drops in front for Sean with a handball. That's CJ Adams, who was absolutely blasted as he got knocked down, and then sent back the other way come the Austin Crows. Juggled and take the mark. Minnesota needs some of these, needs to do what Austin's been doing. Here is that one's been sent in, and that one gets bashed away, and Connell Fox comes the other direction. That'll hang up in the air, and the mark is taken. Looks in the middle of the ground, and that one will be picked up there by Wright. Wright just got it off to the right, on his right. Up high, marked by CJ Adams. How good is it to have a player that young and that athletic on your side?
Definitely. He's been able to kind of mop up there in the back the last 5 or 6 minutes. He's definitely kind of helping Minnesota kind of turn the tide. We've seen a few more inside 50s these last couple of games.
Of course, Tiger Werner with a long kick, he turns it over. They go out to the far side once again, and that one is sent up on the far side. Dropped in front of Nolan Cox, who got away from Brent Mergen. Cox wanted a call. He ain't going to get one. Up on the far side now as they continue. Double boundary throw it. That was pushing the back. I'm sorry. You've played against Minnesota more than a few. In fact, you played them against them a couple of weeks ago. What's the book on them, Don?
The biggest thing there is that they're very disciplined side. They don't make many mistakes. But unfortunately, Austin's pressure has really kind of changed that a little bit. They're turning the ball over, going inside 50. They're kind of rushing their kicks a little bit instead of kind of picking and choosing their short kicks to kind of open up this vaunted Crows defense.
Yeah, and it's they do have the tendency. They are very good, like you said. They are very disciplined. And and against this team, though, that is known for pressuring teams into mistakes. I mean, the fact that it's still a pretty close game and the fact that Minnesota is still keeping them, I think really kind of shows how skilled they are. And they did play in Division I back in 2019. So they are a team that knows how to compete at the big stage. The ball dropped in front of Robertson and goes out of bounds. It did find the field of play before doing so.
Definitely a big ball into the 50 there. Just couldn't bring it in, but the best part is it keeps in the inside 50. You can push the pressure up and maybe set up a wall to try to keep Austin back in their own defensive 50.
Ball comes spinning back in the play, and it comes down. That one is cleared out in the back. It drops in front, and then here comes Brent Mergen. Mergen gonna send that one towards the sticks, and almost taking the mark there was Mike Montgomery. And Monty very rarely drops those, but I'll tell you what, he did well just to get a paw on it.
Definitely saved an opportunity there, but Minnesota continuing the pressure up front.
And the ball comes back. Ball comes back in the play. I'm surprised they didn't recall that one. It pops up high in the air. It bounces away. And the handball back. Try to get the play away. Now comes out to the near side. Long handball. Here is Coxey. He's taken down, no call. Vachon able to get to it. That was Mergen who took him down. He's playing against him pretty tight. This is Zach Weaver over the top for Tiger Werner. Tiger spun around there, got it off to Friday. Friday off the side of his boot, and it's a one-on-one contest, and it's going to be a push-off. It'll be a free kick to Minnesota, dead in front. How will this change the tide of the game?
Definitely a big one here. If Minnesota can put up 6, put a little bit of worry into this Crows defense because they've had the better of the play for the balls in the last couple of minutes.
Dan Kvitrud, a very Minnesota name, and that one is dropped in front. Play on says umpire Jeff Person, and the ball goes out of bounds for a boundary throw in 5 meters around. Austin 14, Minnesota nothing. Men's Division Grand Final 2022 USAFL Central Regional Championships. Brian Barish and Donnie Hess bringing it to you. This is right out in front as the ball comes spinning across. Here is a bounce. Gets a Shepherd, sends that one down the corridor, off the hands, it bounces free. Going to be picked up by Beattie, but it's paddled into the middle. A no-look pass finding the man in Luke Gagnon. Gagnon dropped the pill, stacks on the mill, and that one's picked up. Ball comes back, here's Beattie again, chipped up over the top. Looking as Warner gives chase, over into the corner. That one is sent in towards the sticks. It goes off to the side and it bounces out, and I believe it has gone out on the full. But more pressure by Austin after Minnesota had launched a pretty sustained attack for a couple of minutes.
Definitely.
Ball comes back in the other direction now, and Minnesota out of the back pocket. Wind now picking up once again, and now the wind is blowing to the left. And I'll tell you what, Minnesota has the wind here, and if they want to have any chance of coming back, they're going to need at least one goal, maybe 2 into the wind, because as hobbled as Austin has been, and as much as they've kept him at bay, the aid of Mother Nature is going to really kind of take that talent and amplify it. And that's been the story, really, with the exception of like 1 or 2 passages of play, Donnie, is that primary school side to our left has been the scoring side.
Yeah, definitely. So Minnesota needs to get some scoreboard pressure here to be able to go into that second half knowing what they have to be able to maintain.
Ball goes back in the middle once again, sends back in the play. And we got a lot of stuff happening over there. The ball comes bopped out, and that one was taken away. Goes up high and marked by the 7, who is Aaron Cook. Cook reaches into the refrigerator and pulls out a mark to the middle of the ground. Off almost. It was tipped as they go out the back. And here they come the other way. This is C.J. Adams throwing that one deep onto the left. My gosh, he's got a big boot on him, doesn't he? Sends that one down, sits up nicely for J.P. Kirby. Over the top to the 28, who takes the mark. He's watched by Ian Robertson.
Play on!
trying to see who that is still. I've been looking for Ben Martinez. Throws that one on to the left nicely and marked again. Switching the side does Kirby. They were telling him not to do that, and he's turned it over, and that's going to be high tackle, and it's going to be given across by Jacoby Smith. Fitrud sends that one across. That went about 15.1 meters, Donnie.
That's enough, but it counts.
Sends that one in towards the sticks. Ball goes to ground, Kirby and Robertson. Robertson, who is playing more of a midfield role, has been playing earlier today, has been playing more defensively. Malcolm spinning back in the play once again. Sends that one across and out of bounds. Well, Donnie, I think, if nothing else, I mean, Minnesota so far, I've been really impressed. I mean, you look at this game, and especially past performances, even with Austin's rosters the way that it is, I think they're playing really well, and they're really standing up to the task here.
Yeah, especially only 14 or 15 down is always a positive thing here. They get a point here in this particular passage of play, but the best part is they've been able to kind of lock it in.
And that is the last word on this first half. So, I mean, a very entertaining half, and it is still pretty close. The score, it's 2-2-14 for the Austin Crows, 1 point for Minnesota. And Donnie, just sum up this first half really quickly.
Oh, really, plain and simply, Austin showed early, very quickly, how to get a good start, and then Minnesota kind of wrestled back a little bit of control. Still a little bit of trouble hitting those marks going inside 50, but going to be a cracking second half.
Absolutely. We'll come back and have it here right for you. You're watching the 2022 USAFL Central Regional Championships here on USAFL.com. Third quarter underway here, the second half of this grand final of the men's division of the Central Regional Championships here at the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota. Austin leading Minnesota 14-1. The Crows are 20 minutes away from winning their 5th Central Regional Championship. Brian Barish here with Donnie Hess. That's Keith Rouse, by the way, number 28. This is why I'm so out of breath, is because I went over to see who that was. But Austin is now kicking to the left. Minnesota will have the first offensive chance of this second half, and it's a nice mark by Ryan McLuhan, who is very quiet in that first half, and it amazes me how he can change a game. We'll get to that in a moment, as McLuhan puts right foot to ball, and Minnesota gets their first score of the game, and almost put the ball through a windshield as well. So the Frees go on to 1-1-7. They've cut the lead in half, 2-2-14 Austin, and he's known, Donnie, for getting up high and taking those beautiful high marks, but he was able to get low and took a nice low mark as well.
Absolutely incredible play there. And the best part for Minnesota is that's the best way to start this third quarter/second half. Get the points on the board, put a little fear into Austin. Let's see how it goes.
We refer to this as like third quarter, second half because there is that water break in the middle. They actually have, it seems like they stopped the clock. The only thing is unlike in the AFL, oh, whoa, what a hit. Oh, that was rough. But there's Vosgrau, who is able to get that one free over to O'Sullivan. But here comes CJ Adams, finds Fashant. They look like a brand new team out of the break, do the Minnesota Freeze. That one is chipped in. The 61 was Charlie Nelson, a man after my own heart, because that's the number I wore with the Hawks, and that one will go out of bounds. Charlie, a police officer here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. He's a long-time Minnesota Freeze member, and his wife Jess plays for the women's team, represented the U.S. national team on several occasions. Walker spinning back in the play, knocked down, and throws that one on to the right. Drops in front of Nolan Cox, pinballs him. Weaver got stumbled out of the way. Cox able to get to it, sends that one in. It's a one-on-one contest at the top of the 50-meter arc. Ball goes to ground. Picked up by Keith, I've forgotten his last name already, or by Matt Rouse, meanwhile, as the ball comes back the other way. We have him down as 15. He's actually wearing number 28. Here it is, picked off, sends that one for goal, does Kirkland. And the North Texas Deviloni has answered very quickly, and that extends the lead for the Austin Crows. 3-2-20 Austin, 1-1-7. And they were able to take that initial shot in the gut and counter-punch did the Crows.
Great reply by Austin there, putting that 6 points back on the board here. So again, how does Austin respond after that here over the next 5 minutes? Can they get a clearance? Can they put 6 points back on the board and get it back to within?
That's got to be, I mean, at least somewhat demoralizing, because you worked so hard to get the points on the board, and then they just work the ball back down the line, and there is Nolan Cox slamming the ball forward, and then Robertson dropped the footy, and it is a free kick. So here is a free kick, and it will go the way of the number 23 for Austin, who is O'Sullivan. I'll tell you what, if he kicks this, then it'll be very dangerous. Oh, that's going to have the distance. Does it have the direction? And it sails through straight and true and majestic like a flatulent moth. And that will extend the lead for the Austin Crows. They go on to, 4-2-26 to 1-1-7. And that 2 in a row, and I think Austin has said, we're in charge here.
Unfortunately, that could be a dagger for Minnesota. They're a second goal in a row, increasing the lead here, putting the pressure back on Minnesota. And if you can win your taps like that and go out the front of the stoppages, that is deadly for the Crows offense. And it looks like he did it again.
Well, and that's the thing, is that all he's doing is just it's like an Aussie rules footy on the NES. He's just hitting the B button and just pounding the ball forward. But that's only effective if you have players that are able to win those hit-outs to advantage. Bashant picks the ball up. He had that one clang off a defender. That was Vitru who saw the ball come away. And now here's Kirby, who was taken down mid-kick. And now everybody dogpiling on the rabbit. Ball squirts out, and over to pick that one up was Connell Fox. Connell Fox. Almost like Edward Fox, kind of. And back the other way comes Aaron Cook. Cook now sends that one down the line. Sent that now inboard. I can see Josh Friday giving chase. And says Kitwood. And here comes Robertson, who plays that one into the middle. Set long by the freeze. Nice, almost taken over the top. And they ping-pong it around. It comes to Friday. Friday's gone. Aaron Cook with a nice tackle. Sent in short. Marked. O'Connell again. Turns on the right. Up high, Cox. No, through his hand. Great defense, but now it's a scramble. And he turns around. Oh, it's a fresh Harry. And it ping-pongs around. Martinez is there. It went off of hands and feet and through for behind. And Austin gets another point. 4-3-26 to 1-1-7 Minnesota. Men's division grand final here in Blaine, Minnesota.
I think ping-ponged off about every single body part it possibly could before going through it behind. And one of the most ironic and weird one-pointers that the Austin Crows are going to get on that one.
And it was like, that was a Who song. That basically was the embodiment of the Who song as it comes back the outside. And Minnesota sending it forward. Minnesota is not playing bad. It's just there's been a couple of instances where their defense has let them down. And that one is sent forward. And marked again. As we'll have, and we'll tell you at the end of this on the title card, assuming I remember to put a title card up, who wins best and fairest for the entire tournament, and also who wins MVP of this game. As they come out to the other side. Here they come. Send that one up on the right side, and that one will drop in short. Handballs it back. There is, he was taken down after the fact. Mergen took him down. I was following him as he took down Matthew Rouse. And it'll be a defensive mark. I'll tell you what, it was smothered. and sent in towards the stick, and that's a goal. O'Connor, or O'Sullivan, meanwhile I called him O'Connell, but O'Sullivan, and that might be Dunsville for Minnesota as Austin goes 5-3-33. The Freeze 1-1-7, and now Austin flexing their muscles.
An absolute cannot do in the defensive is be able to have your kick smothered and instantly pays for it. The ultimate dagger there. I see it's really going to be hard for Minnesota to come back here. They have to get the next goal, or this could be a long end of this game.
Well, you know what's interesting, Donnie, is, and you know, I played in the forward line a lot. You know, when you normally play forward in many sports, like think about a sport like soccer, you're playing forward, you're generally more offensive minded. But when the ball gets turned around like that, and it's either in the back pocket or on a kick-in, you're basically playing defense. You've turned into a free safety. So the reading of the ball on the offense is one thing because you have that sort of connection. But on defense, you know, you can't read the other team's mind.
100%, and that's why it is such a difficult job sometimes on the defensive end. You can't make mistakes, and mistakes like that can cost you, and unfortunately Austin got it.
Crows lead by 26 points. They won in 2015 when we were in Racine, Wisconsin, 2016 when we were in Indianapolis. They defeated Dallas in the grand final that year. Dallas got revenge at Little Rock in 2017 as Jacoby Smith turns out one on the left. And then in 2018 in Nashville, Austin won in a 3-team competition. That was how on earth was that not a throw unless the ball was out of bounds first? The ball seemed to have been out of bounds first. Austin won in 2018 in Nashville. That was a 3-team round robin, and they did the same thing in Denver in 2019. They did win the Summer Series event, which was in Arlington, Texas a year ago. Of course, we don't count that as part of the Regional Championship Series, but it is worth mentioning that they did it. And Austin is one of those teams, Donnie, that managed to stay mostly intact after the pandemic.
Yeah, you gotta give it to them. It's never easy to do that. So, and to be able to keep all that talent in a team that's just so deep.
Really. I mean, I know when they went to Nationals in 2015, they brought it up for essentially 3 teams. But that's the end of the third quarter, as the second half will resume when we come back with the score. The Austin Crows, 5 goals, 3 behinds, 33 points. The Minnesota Freeze, 1-1-7. We'll be back for the fourth quarter of this one. You're watching the 2022 USAFL National Championships here. The 2022 USAFL Central Regional Championships from the National Sports Center here on USAFL.com. We're back for the conclusion of the grand final of the 2022 USAFL Central Regional Championships here on USAFL.com. Brian Barish and Donnie Hess here with you. And, Minnesota just trying to hang on. Will restart deep in Austin offensive territory as Cox knocks the ball forward. And out the back comes Minnesota, although that one got picked off. Weaver tried to knock it back, and then that one is sent forward. Ball drops in front of Brent Mergen with a long handball, but it's picked off and back the other way as O'Malley sends that one forward. It goes down into the pocket. Ben Martinez did some sort of flying squirrel kick. They send that one on. Did they just get it? No, it was touched. Great job there by James Madston, who just tried to get through it. I believe that was Stephen Fashant, who came through to the rescue and concedes the rush behind. So 5-4-34 for Austin, 1-1-7 for Minnesota. It's good defensive pressure, and like we've said, Minnesota is not getting steamrolled here. They're playing as best they can, but there's definitely a difference in class.
100%, hard to argue with that.
And of course, the fact they've been without Ben Carpenter-Wanyanwu for he got injured in that second game. Austin has missed arguably their best rover other than Cox, as that one is sent in, and McLuhan, he got taken down as some random kids are yelling out the window. Obviously they're Freeze fans, as that one gets sent in and punched through for behind. That was a great job, and we're trying to get the number of the defender there, but that is Minnesota's first point in a while. go to 1-2-8. They trail Minnesota 5-4-34. And Donnie, you know, those of you who might be at home watching, who are familiar with the AFL, would be like, oh, that's got to be deliberate. The deliberate rules are much different in the USAFL because of the fact that we're playing with a lot of players who don't have the experience of playing, you know, similar to what they play in the AFL.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's a good rule. It keeps from discouraging players, and I think it's the best way to learn it. And this league is growing, and so eventually, maybe if it gets a little bigger, maybe we can make the rule change. But I like it.
Me too. Chris Adams takes it. And there's a lot of rules that occurred, like especially going into the 2018 and the 2019 season, that the USAFL did not adapt for that reason. But it's you know, it is still the sport, and you know, there's a crash boom operator. There was a lot of bodies getting bent in directions that I don't think human bodies were supposed to be made to. And thankfully, I think everybody out of that is going to be okay. It was like somebody trying to drive home on the Schuylkill Expressway.
Somebody came up a little bit limp. He's going down the sidelines. Looked like an Austin Crow. Not sure of the numbers there. Hobbling towards the bench. Looks like he's moving okay, but he's not putting much weight on that left foot. So another injury to Austin Crow is, let's see, a shorter bench. Did that change the title?
Well, we'll see. There's not much time left, and the question is do they have enough marked in front? And it's by Nolan Cox, and Nolan Cox makes absolutely no mistake, and he has kicked that one somewhere into South Dakota. Goal for the Austin Crows. They'll go to 6-4-40. The lead is 32 points.
So interesting to see the brother of Mason Cox here playing in the game. You almost want to chant USA.
Yeah, right.
A little bit, but
that'll make them feel at home.
Definitely, for sure. It just the class there to be able to snap off the run, puts it through, and again, Austin just continuing to pour on the pressure.
Yeah, really, really so. As the ball comes back in the middle again, and yup, they were trying to get him out of the square. That was Greg Kirtland, and James Bates had called him into the square, and then it looked almost like cricket, where they were trying to go yes, yes, no in between the wickets. But you know, you can play with house money like that when you're up by 32 points late in the game, as the ball gets sent down into the pocket, and it clean bowls Montgomery. Or check that was Lyon, who has played very well offensively, and the mark, no, it's taken down off the fingertips. And then that stayed in the field of play, and slamming it home was James Madston. And in the words of the great Mike Lang, ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. He may have left a couple of minutes ago, but 7-4-46 for the Austin Crows, 1-2-8 for Minnesota. And I think that was, and I'm trying to see if that's Murgo in the back line. Yeah, that is Brent Mergen. The veteran really went for the ball. As tall as Mergen is, he was 6'6", he needed to be like 6'9", basically, to take that.
And a little bit of butterfingers there. I think the wind might have thrown it off, kind of catching the ball, slips it, and just, it's so hard. Once you go to ground, that offensive player's on his feet, it's so difficult to stop.
The wind's been very difficult to judge today, and I think that's been the main issue. It hasn't blown in one direction. It's blown to the left of screen to the primary school end. It's blown across in our faces. There was instances where it hasn't blown at all. So it's been very, very, very interesting during the course of this day, as we've gone through 10 games total. The 6 here on this field and the 4 across the way. So it's been very, very difficult to judge, and really has played havoc on some of the players on both sides of the ball.
Definitely. I know in our games earlier, you definitely had to play the wind a little bit, but as soon as you started playing it, then it would switch a little bit. So it's been kind of the constant change. It has been interesting to see how teams have approached it.
Josh Friday had it and then sent that one forward for Minnesota, and ball goes to ground, and Jacoby Smith got out of a high tackle from Robertson, then added a don't argue, sends that one forward. This is James Wright, who sends that one down the line, over in the pocket, and a diving mark taken by Thomas O'Sullivan. And O'Sullivan has really stepped up in the half-forward line. This is kind of the role that Chippy would have been played, I think, and O'Sullivan has done a fantastic job. Ball goes into the middle. And getting away, Kirby dropped the pill, and that's not Kirby. And he got legged. Just a good ZZ Top song, and we'll have a free kick. He got legged! All right, that's all the singing I'm going to do, sorry. As the ball gets sent in towards the sticks. And another sausage roll, because I'm hungry and I haven't eaten since I ate a Bub's pie at lunch at about 3 hours ago. But more importantly, they go to 8-4-52 to the Austin Crows, 1-2-8 for the Minnesota Freeze. The Freeze, well, you know what? They had a really, really good tournament today. They dominated against two teams that, you know, I think gave them real stiff challenges, and they looked really well. And, you know, this third game of the day is always so difficult because, you know, you have played, and they did have a little bit of a break. They played their second game. They would have played their second game at 1 o'clock local time, and so they've had 2 hours. In fact, both of these teams are going on exactly 2 hours rest. And it's tackling without the ball, so it was, or actually, it may have also been an infringement in the ruck contest. So Minnesota will send that one forward, and doing so was Walsh, and he turns it over to not Cox, but that's Rouse up on the far side. So it's all all over bar the shouting as Vosgrau sends that one towards the sticks, and nice mark by Chris Adams. CJ Adams needs to be, I'll tell you what, I would say he's probably going to make the all-regional team. I would say he's definitely in the running for best and fairest. And if they can get more players like him, and I don't know how long he's going to play for them because he goes to college over at U of M. Out to the near side, and it's marked by Wright. Sends that one in towards the sticks, and that is a home run. Wow. Well, we're in Blaine, and I think he may have kicked that one from across the Mississippi. They go. That's how far it was. Let's see. We got 9-4-58 is the score. It's a 50-point lead, 1-2-8 for Minnesota.
You cannot hit a ball any better than that.
No.
Absolutely. Flushed it, put it dead center. Goal umpire didn't have to move. Watched it go over his head. Absolutely impressive.
I didn't even kick that, and I felt really accomplished. Like, you know how, like, you there's that energy when you're at a baseball game and you watch somebody hit a home run, like, right on the sweet spot, or when you watch a golfer catch the ball right a flush, or, you know, you and I are hockey fans, like somebody catches a slap shot really well. I mean, it's so sweet. Here's a free kick for Tiger Warner. I'm going to openly advocate for Minnesota getting a goal here, and they're going to chip that one in short. It's not going to happen straight away, but there's a chance, and it's going off to the side for a behind. That's been the sort of match it's been for the Freeze as they go on the 1-3-9. That was the number 9 in Christopher Bergianis. And that is it. And the Austin Crows, for the 6th time in their history, are the USAFL Central Regional Champions. They've done it in convincing style by the tune of 49 points. The final score, it's the Austin Crows, 9 goals, 4 behinds, 58 points. The Minnesota Freeze 1-3-9. And Donnie, nothing really has to be said about Austin. Even with all the players they were missing before that, even with the injuries, they still played like the division champ, the national champions. But Minnesota, as we said, a heck of an effort on the day.
Yeah, you can't fault Minnesota. They gave it their absolute all. When you face such class, the Austin is, the biggest thing is just trying to compete. They did everything they can. I mean, they had standouts. CJ with an incredible game, even on back. Hard not to argue that he'd be in the votes for best on ground in this game, even on the losing side.
Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for us. For Donnie Hess and for Prithvi, who's done a fantastic job on the camera for us. You can check out more on USAFL.com, Facebook.com/USAFL, and on Twitter and Instagram at USAFL1997. And hey, we'll be in Westminster, Colorado on July 18th for the Western Regionals, so stick with us then. Until then, for Donnie and for everyone else here at the National Sports Center, I'm Brian Barish. We'll talk at you later.